Hello and welcome to the Mobility
Ability
Bros.
Bros.
Every day, every time. I'm Coach Cliff. This is my brother Ron Hilton, and
Boop,
we're here to
boop.
talk about things like athletic mindset, mobility, pain reduction, and pain management, the thoughts and processes of practitioners, and the mindsets of clients and members. Today, we're going to talk about something really integral to a lot of people who are doing lifting. This affects every single person, not just your CrossFit lifter. Sometimes it affects people who aren't even exercising. And that topic today is going to be shoulders and shoulder injuries. But before we get into the topic, first I want to thank our sponsors, Be Legendary Apparel. It is getting cold outside.
It is. I can't stand it.
So what would you do if you had access to Be's Legendary Apparel?
Dude, dude, I would put my freaking hoodie on, bro. Let's get the hoodie going. You know?
Hoodie gang season. Definitely a hoodie gang season. So if you are supporting us and if you would like to support Ron and his journey as CEO of Be Legendary Apparel, please go down in the descriptions, take a look at the website, look at some of the amazing creative concepts that he put on those shirts and hoodies, and pick one up for yourself. You know, maybe pick one up for your friend in the holidays and tell them that they're going to be legendary. Looking forward to seeing how we do there. And also thanks to Fitness Essentials for sponsoring this every single episode.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
is amazing for us to be able to give our time and share. And we look forward to connecting and helping serve anybody who's looking for athletic training, nutrition counseling, or just some program design. So with that out the way, Ron, let's talk about some shoulders, man. Have you
Let's
ever
talk
done
about some
this?
shoulders. Hey,
Let's get it.
get P. Diddy on you. Get P. Diddy
Oh
on you.
gosh, hey, take that, bad boy for
Take that.
life.
Yeah, take that. I love it. Take that.
So tell me, have you ever had to deal with really bad shoulder injuries yourself or with the clients? Like, why was this topic on your heart today?
Yeah, so when I first got licensed as a massage therapist, I thought I was going to heal the freaking world.
Mm.
And I really did. But
Yeah.
that being said, my niche starting out was focusing on shoulder injuries, right? Focusing on releasing adhesive capsulitis, which is frozen shoulder, creating mobility in the shoulder. If somebody came to me, I was the shoulder guy. I'm still am, but I've expanded so much since I started into other avenues of working with the body. But if it's interesting because when I work at the chiro office and somebody's got a jacked up shoulder or it's frozen or whatever, or partially frozen, they like, oh, you need to go see Ron, right?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, if it is adhesive capsulitis and it's real, because people will mistake um sometimes the tissue in the shoulder due to maybe like an injury or a fall, it's not adhesive capsulitis, maybe just not diagnosed properly. It's just maybe the tissue may be just stiff or whatever, maybe locked up, and you just got to kind of like loosen it up a little bit. If I can release your shoulder within a day, within an hour session, it's probably not adhesive capsulitis.
Ah,
But
interesting.
yeah, so but yeah, so I was basically a shoulder guy. Have I ever dealt with? Yes, I have something. I have something a little funky going on in my shoulder right now. I don't know what it is. I've had years ago, I've had an issue from lifting heavy. At the time, it was a minor torn labrum. Um, and I just took, and then went to an orthopedist, got some anti-inflammatories. It's fine. So I'm assuming it's the same thing, but it's not restricting me from doing anything, from lifting heavy. It literally just feel like it's just there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That's interesting that you were the shoulder guy. Like you started off obsessed with, not obsessed, but like you were the guy, you were the man,
yeah.
and still even today. And now this injury happened more recently. Why shoulders? Why did you decide I want to help people and be the shoulder niche massage therapist coach?
Yeah, it was I The first continuing ed I took was on rehabbing shoulder. And
Ah,
it just sounded interesting. You know, I was literally that guy who hit the ground running right out of school. 2 weeks after I got licensed, I took my first continuing ed. And that was
mm,
it. It was a shoulder one. And then I took an advanced shoulder course right after that. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to focus on. I'm brand new in the game. I got to have a niche, something that people can recognize me for. And this is what I did. And I just went into like even studying some shoulder injuries and stuff like that. You know, so you have four rotator cuff muscles, right? So the rotator cuff muscles are your sit muscles. So you have supraspinatus, infraspinatus, subscapularis, and which one is it?
supraspinatus,
Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and
teres minor. That's what you meant.
subscapularis. The
Yeah,
sit muscles, right?
yeah.
And out of those muscles, most common muscle that's probably torn or injured is your supraspinatus. So that actually lays right along here, right? So you get a lot of baseball players, they're throwing in that motion, right?
Mm.
So they'll get mostly like tears. So that's the mostly common injured or teared out of the four rotator cuff muscles.
Let's say, what is it again? Supraspinatus?
Yeah, supraspinatus.
Supraspinatus. Interesting. And where is it again? It lies like right where your upper
So
trapeze.
if you go if you go like it's right here,
Yes.
and then it comes
Oh.
right up, right here.
Has anyone felt that before? If you have seen or felt that pain, you know what that looks like, you relate to that, drop that into the comments. Again, you don't have to get too personal, too crazy in the comments, but if you'd like to, we're always reading them and would love to see where you're at. Supraspinatus, man, a big common injury. For athletes, I can imagine boxers also suffer from
I
that,
would say
right?
yeah.
You know, I have a brother-in-law that right now is having a lot of pain. It could be supraspinatus because the way he describes the pain and where it lays, and you know what he had to do, what he's been doing. He's got a lot of history in boxing, and so possibly part of that as well. Really interesting. So I actually looked up, you know, I said, AI bot, I'd like for you to tell me what the most popular questions are
And here I
on
am. I
Google
got my
in 20.
textbooks. I got my
I
notes
know
down.
you writing with paper. I'm talking to AI,
You're talking to an
but
AI system.
either way, right? Whether you're whether you're
You
still
can tell
writing
I'm
on
almost
paper.
50.
I know. Well, hey, listen, I need to learn this thing before it learns me. Um, one of the biggest questions is what are the symptoms of a rotator cuff tear? That's actually one of the biggest questions. So, supraspinatus is one of the answers. Having pain in that area. What other symptoms would you say people should look out for a rotator cuff tear?
You probably, if you're feeling like a hot burn, like a burning sensation, that's probably a symptom of rotator cuff tear. Sometimes you can't really tell. I mean, you may have a tear and may refer down to the front. You'd be like, I got a torn rotator cuff, you know,
Yeah,
you know, it's referred pain, but there are different tests that you can do. There's a drop arm test, empty cup test, and there's also a crossover test and a speed test. So there's different tests you can do to see that can actually can tell you what kind of what's going on with that with the
for
shoulder
sure.
with the shoulder,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
So you can
within
get
those
to the root cause of it.
you get the root causes, and within those tests, you just have your general what's you know your active. So you know a lot of times I just do basic stuff like okay, can you do abduction? You know, can you do abduction? All right. Can
Yep,
you do
abduction.
shoulder flexion? You know, can you come here do this? If I come here and do a manual resistance test where you locking down, and I push down and you feel pain. I said, where's the pain coming from? So I look for localization where the pain's coming from. I look for mobility. A lot of times, if if there's some type of shoulder impingement, it'll start off fast and then it come here. You have a 10-degree arc, and then it'll start and then come back up.
Mm.
right? And believe it or not, shoulder impingements are 40 to 60% of most shoulder injuries, right?
Mm.
And with shoulder impingements, you have two types. You have biomechanical and you have structural, right? So biomechanical is that there's something that's some type of soft tissue, or maybe a bursa. There's only so much room in that shoulder joint, like literally like that much, right? So if you have a bursa that's inflamed and you come up, it may like as soon as it hits that top part of the bone,
Yep.
it may block it. Structural is basically there's something with the bone. There's something in the bone that's actually causing the restriction
Yep.
in that shoulder joint.
Beautiful. Guys, write it down, pause, rewind, take notes, because this is some hot fire education coming from somebody who's got 20 years in the game, nearly 20 years in the game, and wanted to be a shoulder master. Yeah, because look like turbo and ozone over there. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah, I've worked with shoulders, shoulder injuries, with golfers, tennis players. I tend to try to correct posture, keep the shoulder mobile, teach any type of soft tissue technique. I tend to refer out to physical therapists if it seems like it's something beyond the scope of stretching and strengthening,
Yeah.
so that they can get a clear diagnosis of what is happening. I'm not allowed to diagnose, but I just give reference points to where they should look, what's going on. Um, Interesting you kind of shared like how the pain kind of shoots down or feels like it's in a residual area even though it's not the root cause of the area. Like some people think their pec minor or pec major is hurting when it really is the shoulder and vice
Yeah.
versa. um so what type of shoulder injuries have you seen? I mean, you talked about shoulder impingement, right? You talked about shoulder bursa, um frozen shoulder, and rotator cuff tear. Is there anything else in those
Yeah.
four
So
incidents?
I've mostly seen adhesive capsulitis, frozen shoulder. I've dealt with a lot of that. I've worked with people who had subluxation in the shoulder. So this is interesting. You have shoulder separation, and you have what's called subluxation or dislocation. They're actually two different things.
Mm.
Shoulder separation involves the AC joint. A shoulder separation involves a sprain involving the stabilization ligament surrounding the joint, involves a sprain of the ligament and their around that area, right? So it's just basically it's the AC joint that actually like separates, right? With with the dislocation is basically where it right in the socket. It's right in the socket where it like subluxates and may come back, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. I remember having
So
a friend that played football, and every
yeah,
time he hit, his shoulder would subluxate. It would pop
pop,
down
yeah,
and
pop
then
out,
pop
right?
back up. And he was being so much pain. I thought his collarbone was gonna break.
Yeah, so that's more of dislocation. So and I've dealt more with that. Like I've dealt with people that and some of that is just, it lacks ligaments. I had a guy, I never worked on him, but he told me that his this shoulder, the ligaments and muscle, everything was so laxed that he could be just sitting there and all of a sudden his shoulder would just slip.
That's crazy. That's like, like Adam's family or something. It was like boop, boop.
Yeah, it would just
Like
it would just pop out. But it got to the point where they actually had to tighten. He had to have surgery and have all that tightened up so he couldn't have that, so it wouldn't
mm,
happen anymore. So,
it
but yeah,
seems like such an extreme.
yeah. So I've worked with people like that, and what I do with that, that's more of a contraindication for me. So I don't go into the shoulder. I don't do any big movements or anything like that. I'll work on the shoulder, but I won't do any mobility work because I don't want to pop the shoulder out.
Yeah, it's not that it's not mobile, it's too mobile.
It's
It's like
sumo, yeah.
it needs to be trained and tightened. He needs to almost do things that's going to tighten the muscle tissue and tighten the ligaments back up, right? That's what they
Absolutely.
say about like a
Absolutely.
knee. When a knee is dealing with something like that, how you can strengthen the muscles around the knee in order for the knee to get better. Um,
Absolutely.
that's amazing. It's amazing. I have another question from our AI bot generated top questions. Um, what is the recovery time for shoulder surgery?
That varies, man. There is no
Straight answer for
there's
that.
no straight answer because everyone's different, right?
Yep. Yep.
I work with collegiate athletes, and the recovery time they get is different because they have a team of people that are making them recover faster than the normal human being.
Exactly. Then yeah, then the average person without a
Right,
team.
right.
Yeah.
But you and I that just got insurance and
Yeah.
surgery and just
Yeah.
going down to the PT down the street,
Aflac. Aflac.
Aflac, right? Dude, that I don't know. I mean, I can't say, I won't say, but I just throw it out there. It could be 6 months. I don't know. I mean, it'll vary versus somebody that's a collegiate athlete that has a team of the best specialists in the world. It could be 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazingly
Like a
different.
pro athlete, they have like athletic trainers, rehab. They have the sports doctors, so they can
And
get.
they also time block, right? They have time in their
Yes,
schedule daily
yes. They
where
purposely time block those people to get better because you know eh,
they
eh,
need them.
they need them. And to be honest with you, if you're a $50 million man or woman,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna be sitting down eating bonbons.
And recovering forever. No, actually, I watched the episode where we had you interviewing Aaron, and when he talked about his knee injury and
Yes.
how they stayed with him the whole way through,
Yeah.
because contractually they had to stay with him because he was playing pro ball, but also how fast he recovered to get back on the field,
Right.
and he blew out like he blew out all of his knee ligaments, his ACL, his
ACL,
PCL, his
PCL.
MCL, like anything that was wrapped around that
Dude,
leg was
he
just
had no knee. It was like this.
yeah,
It was like spaghetti.
his patella would just spin around like gosh. But like you just said, he was a pro athlete. If that was some high school kid or some college kid or somebody playing flag football with friends and they got that injury, that would be a devastating year-long recovery, surgeries, um, OPT, PT, and then hopefully some training to just get back to where you want to be. So yeah, that's a great answer to the question because it's truth. It's truth. Here's another one of the top five. I would say, what is the best way? I think this is funny that people ask this question. What is the best way to prevent shoulder injury in sports?
You can't. You can't. Like that is the most dumbest question. I mean,
It's not dumb.
dumb
It's a
question.
very, very asked question. It's one of the top most popular questions on Google.
Yeah, but you know what? People will ask that same thing about knee injuries. What's the best way you can prevent a knee? You can't. Like,
Don't play the sport.
yeah. So your job is to be as safe and healthy as possible, but you can't predict outcomes, right? Like
Talk to 'em.
if you're running, if hypothetically, if you're a football player and you run and you got a 250-pound man coming after you, and he clips you the wrong way and pops your shoulder out, and then all of a sudden it's like your shoulder's hanging. You can't, like, it's a very hard thing to do. I mean, unless you do nothing. I mean it. I
But
mean,
even doing nothing can cause something.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even people that work in construction or something like that, they could be slip and fall, and they can grab to catch themselves, and all of a sudden, the load on that arm from their body just kind of like just whatever,
Yeah.
it can happen.
I've seen older seniors reach for their seatbelt. They go to reach for their seatbelt and they pull it and oh, something happens, neck, shoulder. Um, it is it is quite impossible to play, especially we're not talking golf, which also has its own level of injuries, or pickleball. We're talking, you know, it's very difficult. You pick the sport and really look at how much contact you're having, and yeah, that'll give you your answer. It's impossible to predict. It's impossible to predict. All right. Do you want one more? Do you think we have time for one
We
more?
got time for one more, man. What time for one more? We can close it out, man. I think we're
So
good.
for those who stay to the very end, we want to treat you. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for watching and supporting us. Our subscribers are growing regularly. Our views are getting up there regularly, and we wouldn't be able to continue this without your support. So we thank you for your support. So please remember to go down in the description, check out Be Legendary Apparel. If you're looking for collagen or some nutritional products or some cleanse products, check out what we have at our Isogenic store or the specific links in our description.
Absolutely.
And that will support us directly as well as hopefully help you with your attire and with your health and wellness needs. So, how do you treat a frozen shoulder at home?
You know what? Honestly, it's that I would say you would follow the instructions of your practitioner. You know, it could be just stretching, mobility. I give people certain stretches to do. I got one guy right now, he can barely do this,
Mm,
right? He definitely has frozen shoulder, bilateral frozen shoulder. But you know what? He doesn't do anything I tell him to do.
mm,
So he's always going to be like this. And then when he comes sees me and I work on him, it's painful. It is painful.
yeah.
You know, so it's you basically just follow what your practitioner said. I mean, and in some cases it may be so bad you may need surgery. You know,
Mm.
I've seen that too, where you have to unlock it, you're going to have to you might need surgery. So
Follow your practitioner. There's a reason why they've gotten the years of experience they've gotten. If you feel like your practitioner isn't like connecting with you or giving you the same attention as you did when you first met him or her or whatever the case may be, there are a lot of good people out there. So find the person for you, find your person so you can feel seen, heard, and understood, and so you can get fixed and get better. But if you're not following the rules, or not even the rules, guys, if you're just not doing what you're learning and repeating what you're learning to better yourself, then you're just going to stay in the same place.
you are.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah, and real quick, I remember that one of the first people I ever treated with partially for shoulder, I had a whole treatment plan, everything. This is my first year in, and I would give her exercises and stuff like that. And then finally, I said, "Why aren't you?" And she wasn't doing the exercise. I said, "Why aren't you doing the exercise?" She said, "Why do I got to do exercise when you can just fix me?"
Mm,
And that kind of that literally took the wind out of my sails, man, because I was just like, I'm putting all this energy into that person, and I just kind of realized like people are gonna be people. You give them information, and how they ever do it, you just let it go. You just let it go. So
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, we're just trying to make impact and continue to give, and you give without expectation at times, but if you're coming to get help and you're coming to get healing, there is an expectation that you're going to do what you need to do to heal so that we both can get you to where you need to go. We can support you side by side, but you have to take the action in everything in your life. I know I did, and I know I still do, in order to continue to make fitness essentials online a thing of the future, to keep our business growing, to keep my funding coming in, to keep supporting us, to keep showing up. You have
Show
to just
up.
do what you got to do. So
Show
yeah,
up. Show
tell them
enough.
any finals. You're looking amazing, by the way. You're crushing
Oh,
it.
I know. I showed the six pack.
Woo! Y'all don't
Woo!
even know.
3 weeks out from the show. From the show, November 19th, I get on stage and I start flexing. Whoa!
Oh boy, big body Ron,
Big
and he did this
body.
all from his home gym
Yes,
with
yes.
amazing nutrition products. So, Ron, we wish you luck. Guys in the comments, give him a big shout, give him some love, especially if you stay to the end. But take us away, brother.
All right, I want you to stay awesome, keep stepping the greatest, and be legendary. Have the most amazing legendary, y'all. Take care for now.